he's trying to tear things down. I'm talking about Donald Trump and his administration, Tom Homan, people at the Department of Homeland Security. They're the ones that are threatening people, again, who are law-abiding, who are often the anchors of their communities, who are paying taxes in this country. They're the ones who are threatening people. We're just standing up for people who live in our state and in our city.
Governor, real quick, the amount of money that you've spent on harboring illegals over the last 4 years and protecting them now, and after Mayor Johnson's email that just went out yesterday saying they're going to spend more money on protecting illegals at the expense of the American citizens, in particular the West Side and the South Side. We've got representatives here, we've got Bob Israel here. Why not invest that money there? And then the second question is, are you prepared to be arrested if you don't follow President Trump's orders?
I'm going to answer your question.
This is for the mayor as well.
The money we spend in the state of Illinois is about protecting the residents of the state of Illinois.
The citizens.
That is what it is about.
The citizens.
We will stand up for anybody who is standing up for the law. We follow the law in the state of Illinois. I'm very concerned that Donald Trump and the federal government is not going to be following the law. Indeed, they have proposed getting rid of birthright citizenship.
Good.
For many families, imagine, we all ought to stand up for the Constitution. This president does not.
Embargo on the Venezuelans. Why don't you collaborate with ICE with the trade embargo on the Venezuelans?
Oh, is it? There we go. All right. Well, welcome to Behind Enemy Lines. Good job, Terry. You got any thoughts on that? First time he's been speechless and like ever. Terry will be joining us. He's on the road because he was in Chicago today doing that, confronting the mayor and the governor about the illegal immigration crisis in Chicago with Ben Berquam. And Terry had a busy day. We've had a busy couple weeks, honestly. Last week, Terry and I went downtown Chicago to do public comment at the fire department and police, or the fire and police commission at the city of Chicago. And then we went to 15th Ward Alderman Raymond Lopez's office, and we did an interview there. We also have the Save Illinois Coalition, where Terry's trying to put together a petition to get rid of sanctuary state status for Illinois and get rid of sanctuary city status for Illinois. And obviously all our work in the last year, all these articles that we've done and Gateway Pundit and everything has shown why we're doing that, why this Save Illinois Coalition is necessary, is because, as Ben noted, billions, over $1 billion has been spent on illegal immigrants for the state of Illinois at the expense of the taxpayer. I mean, we have video from when we were getting started doing this where Terry's interviewing homeless vets on the street in the freezing temperatures who are talking about how they know people who have died because of that. Meanwhile, as we've reported on, illegal immigrants are getting housed and fed on the taxpayer dime. They're getting put up in apartments, and we'll talk a little bit more about the specifics of that and how the deportation effort is going to be affected. But I want to say something real quick about how far we've come, because and Terry, I guess I'll be the I'll ruin this for him, but he can go into detail about it, and we'll obviously post it. But Terry was on Steve Bannon twice today. Steve Bannon's show, not just the network. That's been a long time coming. I mean, we've been doing this thing for a little bit over a year. It is a grassroots movement. We're not making tons of money doing this. We're not making barely any money doing this. I get paid a few shekels to do the Gateway Pundit thing, and Terry's barely keeping afloat running this whole thing. We're not doing this to make money. We originally started out doing this because we didn't think it was right that the government was making pornographic material accessible to children in public schools and libraries. I don't even understand why that's, a political hot button. I mean, one of the things that bothers me about that whole thing is that, it's not okay. Here he is. Here's the man. It's not okay to discuss religion in public settings, but, the taxpayer has no ability to stop pornography from being accessible to your children. So, anyway, Terry, welcome.
Hey.
I just explained how you were on Steve Bannon twice today.
Oh my God.
And you confronted the mayor. And you know what I liked about that clip? We played the first couple minutes of your confrontation, and for a cold open. And the thing I loved about Ben's question was Governor Pritzker said, "We are going to protect the residents of Illinois," and Ben's like, "Citizens."
Yeah.
Because he doesn't give a he doesn't care about citizens. He spent over $1 billion on non-citizens. Yeah. And our buddy Sean Casten, the congressional representative, begged the federal government for millions for non-citizens too. So anyway, tell us about your day, Terry.
Yeah. So one of the things that I found interesting, Mayor Brandon Johnson was talking about how dare Trump and Holman go into the sacred churches, right? And go after these criminal illegals. Well, do you guys remember what they did to our sacred churches during COVID?
They shut them down. Yeah.
They shut but they left open liquor and all this other crap.
Yeah.
Massage split, it's crazy. California and I think Chicago, Illinois as well. So they're all of a sudden they're sacred now when you want to hunt down criminal illegals that might be in there, and they're not even saying they're going there, but they want to have the opportunity to go in there if they're housing them there.
Yeah. Well, I want to. Hey, Jason, can you pull up? Anyway, keep telling us about your day, Terry.
So I was shocked
pull
we
up
got
that
in
latest
there.
Tweet I just sent you.
I was totally shocked that we got in. We got in there.
I mean, that's crazy. So how did that work?
I'm in my leather Fonzie jacket. Ben got in there first, and I parked outside. They had the gates and stuff, and I parked right in front of a fire hydrant with the cow. There's like 4 cops there. I'm like, is Pritzker in there? They go, yeah. I walked up. Sorry. He said, what's up? I go, oh yeah, I'm with a podcast.
Were you just like?
And so I was like, walk in. I was like, holy shit, there they are.
Yeah.
Got, Pritzker, Johnson, Rahm Emanuel. I hate all of them.
They're just
right, and
they're communists.
We always bitch about them. I make fun of them on Twitter all the time.
And then there they are, right?
It's like, holy cow, there's that slob.
Yeah.
And then I'm standing. There's like 25 cameras. I'm standing to the right. I'm like, holy, and I'm in my Fonzie jacket. I'm like, I'm waiting for someone to tap on my shoulder, like, sir.
I saw the clip. It looked like they wanted. They were like hovering over you, getting ready to
there was stuff when I wasn't filmed. They were kind of around us and the outskirts. Yeah, because Ben was on the other side, so I had to go over there, and someone's following me. I'm looking at my camera. It was a diversity cop, state cop.
Oh my god,
little diversity lady.
Good luck with that job. It's not going to be around much longer.
And I was like waiting until that one guy finally. Like Ben raised his hand, and that was my first time in like a presser like that. I was like, and I know there's people arguing like, and then
like,
one guy said something.
I'm
like, oh, fuck it, I'm gonna do that too. And then Ben has his nice, elegant questions. Then he throws in a zinger. He compliments the guy for doing a great job and putting this big manufacturing business, going to employ people in K-Town, which is the west side of Chicago, really bad neighborhood. And
on the screen,
the thing that I liked the most was, I brought up the trend, about protecting our people and Trend Largo and stuff, right? And then, I don't know if you were able to hear on the back end, I was yelling, "Hey, anything you want to say to Holman, Pritzker? Anything you want to say to Holman? You said Holman has to go through you to get to your people. I saw that. Isn't it easier to run around them, run around you?"
So our buddy, speaking of our buddy Alderman Raylan Lopez, this was today, I believe, or maybe it was yesterday. No, this is today.
Yeah, you posted it in your story, right?
So pretty obvious though, Terry,
yes.
right?
Yeah.
You're saying they're complaining about church. Like, if you don't want ICE going into church, just turn over dangerous criminals. And if you want to pull up the Gateway story real quick.
So I just left Ray Lopez's office with
Ben.
Did
you really?
Yeah.
No kidding.
And I told Ben. I opened up your story when we were eating lunch. And
I was going to ask you to share with him.
I read his tweet.
Yeah.
I read his tweet, and he got his intrigued because he didn't know him. And so, we're going to be done. I go, you got to talk to this guy.
Yeah.
So the last thing Bannon said to me is like, well, who's supporting who's supporting Holman and Trump? Are they going to demonize them? And, and what are we going to do? I'm like, well, shows like yours has to expose it, and I go, we have to, as people, support him. I go, screw the Illinois Republicans. They're not even really Republicans. I want to have Democrats and minorities, Hispanics.
That's a good point.
Embrace them because they want the help. I don't care what Pritzker says. He's a liar. Johnson's a liar. These people want them out of their communities. They want them out. Perfect example is Ray Lopez. So
he's
Ben,
awesome.
I'm like, you got to talk to him. So Ben went and we're supposed to do a 6:00 with Grant Stitchfield. I was supposed to be on it with him. And then Ray came in and he's like, oh, I was supposed to interview now because we're going to do it live right away. And Ben's like, oh, you stay here, Terry. I'll go outside. He did it out on the sidewalk while I was talking to Ray and getting him up to speed. He didn't know who Ben was. And then Ben filmed him on his phone after he was done with the Grant's interview. And he heard, as he was filming and interviewing Ray, he's like, oh, wow. Listening to Ray, the stuff he said, like he's like on our side.
Yeah.
Ben was like, wow.
Yeah.
Wow. I go, you got to get him on Steve. I go, you got to get him on Steve's show. He goes, are you available tomorrow at 9 a.m? So he's going to be on Steve's show
nice.
tomorrow.
That's awesome, dude.
Yeah.
So so in that article, Jason, looks like the camera's, I don't know. But in that article I wrote, the big point is that, like, so this is what I was trying to get at is they're up there and they're trying to demonize Trump and you brought it up in the clip. I didn't play the whole clip, but about how they're spreading fear.
Yeah.
Like, and all this stuff. But that's all cover. I mean, it doesn't matter what they say because the federal government's going to come in anyway. The big points were they've created obstacles, right? So the big obstacles, as I mentioned in the article, are things like they changed the law for state IDs, and basically a lot like if you're a resident, instead of 6 months, you'll have to wait 3 months to get the state ID.
I said that on Bannon's show.
Yeah, right.
That got
That's
his
good.
attention.
That's good. And they changed the classification, so it's just a standard ID. So it's harder to tell.
We can't even.
E-Verify
it's illegal to use E-Verify to see if they're legal.
Yep. And they've been putting them up in apartments, and they did the name change law, so now they can change their name. They don't have to make the documents public, and they don't have to make the addresses public. So there you go. I mean, the federal government is going to have enough problem trying to find these people.
Yeah. So we went to Cook County Jail too. And then I was gonna go. I was running inside. I'm like, I gotta go to the bathroom before he's going on. And the cop says, "Oh, you can't go in." I go, "Why?" He goes, "You can't go in. There's an emergency."
Bomb threat.
Yeah, and he was like, "It's a bomb threat." I'm like, "Oh shit!" And the Ben's like, "Are we far away from nothing?" I go,
probably just didn't want
"It's
you to
not a
use the
real
bathroom."
bomb threat. It's some bullshit liberal something didn't get what they liked or something.
Yeah.
Or probably threatening that, Holman's coming, we're gonna blow you up, some stupid shit.
It's like when we didn't want drag queens at the library, and the liberals sent a fake bullet to the.
Yeah, so we were there. It was, oh my God, it was still so. We learned that it's been over 5 years since ICE was even have any conversations with anyone within the Cook County Jail, which is absurd. And matter of fact, I brought up there was 4 Venezuelans that were picked up at Oak Brook, for you local to Chicago. It's a really nice mall, and they shoplifted over $5,000 of glasses or watches or some shit like that. And one of the Venezuelans, they're all Trent Largo
because the highways.
One of them had a colonoscopy bag because he got a bullet. He got a shot in a crime in Chicago, and he had a shit bag attached to him. Recovering from that, and he's shoplifting in an organized fashion with other Trent Largo gang members. So I did say in one of the interviews that they're sitting in DuPage County Jail. So hopefully Bob Berlin's going to cooperate with ICE, right, and let them pick him up. I don't know. I also gave Ben I gave him Berlin's phone number, his cell phone number, and Ben called him this morning, and the prick hasn't called him back. I don't know why. I told him, I said, make sure you tell him you're friends with Terry Newsom. I did. Well, that might be why.
I mean, he's good friends with the sheriff.
Yeah, Mr. Clean and Mendick.
Yeah. So big day. I mean, back to the Lopez thing. It's, how many times have both you and I been accused of being bigots, racists? Actually, I don't get the race thing, but it's bigots and LGBTQ or homophobes and all this kind of stuff. It's like, okay, well, I sat down with Ray Lopez for almost 20 minutes the other day. I talked to him. This guy's a gay Chicago Democrat politician.
Yeah.
If we were bigoted, racist homophobes, then what does he want to do talking to us?
I hate women. I hate gay people.
No, this is not going to be good for my
Police
campaign.
officers. Oh, yeah, that's just a joke. Oh, my God, they're going to edit that out. They will. My heart goes out to everybody. My heart.
Oh, my God.
That was pretty fucking stupid.
I mean,
he should have never done that.
Well,
though.
he's from south of the equator. Some of
But
them,
I know
he might be the biggest genius in the world.
I
but
think he might have done that to make them go nuts. I don't know. I could see how easily the radical leftists are going to use that.
I think it's a non-issue.
So
like, look at what the guy basically saved free speech for civilization. You think he's a Nazi?
So can I kick off your event? My heart goes out to you, Paul, in Downers Grove.
That's gonna help.
Or no, I'll do it to the other two guys. Mm-hmm. My heart goes out to you.
Yeah. Well, so busy day. So lately we've been interviewing Chicago Democrats. Mm-hmm. You've been working with Ben Bergquam. You've been on Steve Bannon's show. Steve Bannon's show thing is gonna be big.
Yeah. Hey, so did we talk about my visit to the Gulag and all that?
No, not yet. But one thing before we leave the immigration issue is I saw in an NBC news clip that Kathy Salvi put out a statement about how they're gonna support the Trump organization and with the deportations and whatever. And look, that's your job to bash the Republicans, but I would just say, like, I'm sorry, Illinois Republican Party, but what are you going to do?
Wait. I know
what
bash the Republicans. I exposed the truth.
Yeah, I agree.
It's not bashing.
I'm saying,
right? Yeah.
You're more of the hammer to the nail on that stuff. But I just asked the question, like, I thought it was disingenuous.
No, she's full of crap.
Because I'm like, because I think about what we've done to expose stuff, and that's 10 times more. That has been 10 times more impactful than anything the Republican Party in Illinois.
Yeah. I could see what's his name, the other Jamal, Kevin Coyne going. The Never Trumper supports a Democrat Safety Act is going to go out of his way to help Trump and Homan.
Well, I mean, I just think, like, we've been barely doing that. We have no. Prior to a year ago, neither one of us had any experience in journalism. And now, we have a reach of millions of people. The Gateway Pundit, Real America's Voice, we're on Patriot TV. And the Republicans have basically stayed in. No, they've gotten worse. They've got less influence now. Yeah. They got, somehow, Donald Trump got 5 more points in this election in Illinois than he got in 2020. They lost in Illinois, though. The candidates in Illinois lost. Like, so I don't know what the implication was there. What they're going to do to help the Trump.
Yeah, they're not going to do anything.
They're not going to do anything.
Let's talk. We got the 2 other things to talk about. The Gulag. So I was at the inauguration, and everyone heard about the big news there. I was the big news about Trump pardoning 1,500 like criminals that were violent. So yes, some people fought with the police. Yes, they got they deserve to be punished. The ones that really got aggressive with the police, right? But you know what? Nobody, not any one of those people deserve to be in jail for 4 years, let alone sit there and not have a trial. Now, this here, Bobby Morris, the guy was on our show a few weeks ago. He's called Lego Man. How come that picture makes my nose look huge? Must be the sun.
I mean,
so he's a great young man. 4 tours in Afghanistan. And
Army Ranger.
We just interviewed him last Thursday. I had no idea. First of all, I didn't know I was going to be at the Gulag, and then he showed up. It was awesome. I was like, holy cow! I told you I couldn't wait to see you. So then,
do you want to play the clip?
Oh yeah, go ahead. Yeah,
only a couple minutes.
Yeah.
All right, so my new friend I just spoke to on Thursday, Robert,
Lego man. Oh, I got tinted glasses. Of those glasses.
Stunner.
So I can't believe that I'm here. I can't believe he's here. More importantly, he's here. We were just texting last night. I was sending everyone that, hey, I called and left a message last night.
I did. Thank you.
You know, so
I think it helped.
Yeah.
I think it helped.
Right. So Robert got out. He was on work release. Unfortunately, he had to do his whole sentence. Then he's on work release. We did share his story Thursday, but any highlights? I'm glad to see you, man.
Yeah, thank you very much. Yeah, so I was in the halfway house last night, and they released me, obviously begrudgingly, but they eventually told me that I needed to be outside the building by midnight. So there's absolutely no excuse for me to be standing here in front of you, a January 6th that was pardoned by Donald Trump, and still have 20 plus guys in that building that also got pardoned by Donald Trump. It's despicable.
Yeah, it is.
Call this place up, call everybody you know. Donald Trump needs to come down here himself if he has to, but these hostages got to go home. And as of right now, this jail is more guilty of breaking the law than January 6ers are, because those are innocent men behind bars.
Yes. Yeah, I was told by some lady here that the guy that signs off was off. And
that's what they said, yeah.
Oh, no, that's stupid.
It's all bullshit.
Yeah,
It's been changing.
They're just using their own
How
legal...
am I standing here right now if the pardon was for everybody?
Yeah.
I should be standing here with the rest of them, but that's why I'm here. I
what a
drove
good guy.
from Pittsburgh to D.C. in the middle of the night so
After
that I
being
could
in
be
jail
here
for
so that
3.5
we wouldn't
years.
have man
That kid's a patriot.
Yeah,
man.
he's awesome.
You know what? We're done
Well,
with
he's
this
a
interview
patriot.
because my fingers are frozen on my goddamn phone.
Yeah, I think my mustache is frozen right now.
So Robert, his nickname was labeled the Lego Man. So if any of you guys remember, everyone was being attacked, brutalized, enemies, insurrectionists, bullshit. And they said that if you guys remember, deep back a few years ago, that one of these guys had an architectural design of the Capitol. And it was Robert, Lego Man. Swear to God.
Oh, it was literally a Lego.
It was a Lego set of the
Capitol
Capitol, but he didn't even
building.
put it together.
It
wasn't open.
And if you didn't watch our show last week when we interviewed him, he explains how these idiots literally thought this was some sort of gotcha.
So they had to retract that. They had to retract it.
Unbelievable.
And so
but these are FBI agents working for our
They're
government.
scumbags.
Doesn't that worry you though that they're that stupid?
Yeah, now it's all, thank God, it's all coming back. So this was the morning of the 21st, and they thought there was people out there at midnight. And some of my buddies in DC, Chad and them were out there, and Mr. Ireland was out there, and they left after 1. Because they weren't being let out. We thought they were going to switch guard shifts. And then that's when I went out there at 6 in the morning and then ran into everybody else. And then we're hearing they're kind of playing around with them and stuff.
There's
and
all kinds of shit.
Yeah, and I had to get back. But after that, there was tons of cameras from Spain, France, waiting for these guys to come out. And then I talked to, Jesus Christ, Stuart Rhodes. So do you remember the two biggest evilest insurrections?
Do you want to play that one too?
Yeah, the two evil ones are Enrique Altaria, the Proud Boys,
Slack.
didn't go to D.C., right? Stuart Rhodes, Oath Keepers, didn't go to D.C. And so, I know the scumbags, his enemies, my enemies are watching, and they keep talking about the Southern Poverty Law Center, right? Mm-hmm. And in the Southern Poverty Law Center, the Antifa associate that works with these Democrats, right? Leslie Fugett's friends, the Antifa associate that wrote that story on me, said that Terry Newsom said that the Oath Keepers didn't do anything wrong, and even though it was contrary to all the news media. So you're going to see here, Mr. Rhodes, who had the most time, 20-some years, like Enrique.
Yeah.
And he wasn't even
Oath
he
Keepers?
wasn't even there. Yeah, he's the head of the Oath Keepers. And the people that were there, and I'll let him speak for himself. So I want you guys to hear the truth. So when you got these scumbags from Downers Grove trying to attack him through me, listen to the truth.
Yeah.
We're in front of the DC Gulag. Just ran into Mr. Rhodes here. Hey, I'm a big fan of his, but I was one of the fortunate ones. I didn't go to prison, and I sympathize with everything.
You didn't go inside?
No, I didn't go inside.
I didn't go inside either, but did you mean
And then SPLC did a hit piece on me. I was defending you guys.
Okay.
Inside the story.
Badge of honor, right? Badge of honor.
Inside the story, they said that Newsom lied, that the Oath Keepers did not do anything violent that day, and they were trying
Who was violent?
That's what I said. They said Newsom was a liar, claiming what the fake news said. So,
I'm so glad you're out. It's such bullshit. You shouldn't have spent a day in jail there.
Right.
Can you tell me there's probably so many things to your story, but some of the highlights that
Well,
might be relevant.
like you said, I mean, no Oath Keeper that day punched a cop, kicked a cop, hit a cop with a club, nothing like that.
Yeah.
So it's completely, we were targeted because of who we are.
Yep.
Because we were the Oath Keepers. And some of our guys went inside. And, when they came out and told me they had gone inside, I didn't even know they had gone inside. And when they came and told me, I said, well, that was stupid. And the reason why I said that is because it was dumb because of who we are.
Yeah.
Because by going inside, they didn't do anything wrong.
Yep.
They just wandered into the same doors everyone else wandered into.
Yeah.
Did nothing inside except help police. But yet, because of who we are, we were targeted and trying to make us the face of J6 or the boogeyman of J6.
Yeah, I was at the Marriott with, I'm from Chicago, guys from, there was Proud Boys there, 3%ers there. I didn't even know about the Capitol thing. There was no planned insurrection. Nobody said a word about it, and I was adamantly trying to defend that.
Yeah.
And how they attacked you.
It was a protest.
And then, yeah.
Yeah, it was a protest, and a big point to make is that in November and December there were big rallies in DC, and every single one of them ended up around the Capitol.
Yeah.
They marched in November. They marched from down, I think it was Freedom Plaza,
Yeah.
all the way to the Supreme Court, which is around the Capitol anyway. And we were all in the streets there. So, and on J6, we were planning on being at the Capitol. We had 2 permitted events on Capitol grounds that Oath Keepers was doing security for. And I believe there were 9 permitted events around Capitol grounds, which is just standard usual. So everyone was planning on being at the Capitol anyway.
Yeah.
It wasn't like President Trump told everyone to go to the Capitol.
Right.
He said, now you're going to go to the Capitol, because he knew they were already going to be going there. That's crazy.
We were there for, me and my cop buddy, retired. We were there for 2 reasons: to go see the Trump event and protect people from what happened in October or November and December from being beat up.
Yeah.
That's why we were there, and that's why we were dressed the way we were dressed. We were dressed to protect ourselves. This is my first time. I was told they're going to throw soup cans and bear spray.
Yeah. Well,
and,
they do.
And so I was dressed that way. It looked like I was there for something else. I was there because of those guys.
That's another point.
Try to.
Trump supporters dressed like that because for 4 years they've been attacked in the streets, including in DC by Antifa. Like you said, throwing soup cans, frozen water bottles, bricks, rocks, hitting people in the head with bike locks, things like that. And so, yes, that's why you wear a helmet. That's why you wear body armor.
Yeah, and then there was people embedded throughout. I got pictures. I waited 2 years. I was scared to look on my phone. I got guys that I got one guy who was wrapped up head to toe on the megaphone on the west side. As people were approaching, he's yelling, "Take pictures, everyone!" by himself. Couldn't see, his hat's down. "Take pictures, everyone! Show the world! Show the world!" Right. And I'm looking back 2 years later. I'm like, wait a minute, this guy was agitating people.
Was he ever identified and prosecuted?
No, I'll give you my card. I want you to look at this, man. I mean, I got pictures of people. One old lady was standing next to me. We were at the last burial of the officers on the west side, me and my cop buddy. And the guy between me and this old woman was sitting there yelling, "Get in there, we need more troops. We need more troops," for 5 minutes. I had my mask on. This old lady looked at him. She goes, "Why don't you get your ass up there yourself?" And then I pulled my mask down. I'm smiling because I was like, acknowledged. I'm like, I was thinking the same thing. And it wasn't a coincidence. And other people say, "Oh, Antifa didn't do this." Well, where the hell were they on January 6th? They were there in December. They were there in November. All of a sudden, they weren't there. They were dressed up inside us, with us.
Right.
So,
and other elements.
Yes.
Right.
Yes. Yeah.
Not just Antifa.
Yeah. Well, I really honored to meet you.
Okay,
And
good
thank
to meet
you
you,
for sorry what you went through, man.
It's okay.
All right.
It's all in God's plan.
Stuart. Hey, I just dropped my shit.
We have some technical difficulties over here. While you're figuring that out, I'll just give a quick take. One of the things that one of the things I noticed about this whole thing, all the J6 stuff is groups like the Proud Boys. Groups like the Proud Boys, the Oath Keepers.
Just leave it on both of us.
The 3%ers, was that another one?
Yeah.
These are all kind of like militia type groups. Well, the Second Amendment of the Constitution says a well-regulated militia being necessary to the security of a free state, the right of the people to keep and bear arms shall not be infringed. One of the things that J6 did was that it basically, the government was trying to frame all these as terrorists, all these groups. Yeah. So now it's like, you know what I mean? It's not good. It's not good for constitutional rights.
So see, this is what I hit on J6. These are Fugit. These are like plastic hand grenades, fake hand grenades. So Fugit.
Did you have those at January 6th?
No, I didn't have to. No, I did that for our show to piss off people like Fugit. Oh, they got gunshots going off.
Well, I mean, again,
like,
I was in the military.
So that's my gloves. These are my gloves so I could punch Antifa in the face if I can. Glasses. I had a helmet. It had nothing to do with an insurrection. It had all to do with the Antifa that attacks people. Black Lives Matter. If you saw in December and November, they were stabbing people, throwing soup cans at them, bear spray. I was loaded to the gill to go to war with those scumbags. I was 60 years old. With another 61-year-old cop, we were there to defend the people and keep them from being beat up. So the optics looked like we were going to war against the government. That wasn't the case at all.
But can you believe it? You made it 4 years, Terry, with all the shit talking you've done, and you didn't have to go to jail. With the loud mouth that you have, and you didn't have to go to jail.
Well, I think these are.
They tried to send the cops to your house a couple times.
No, they did.
Yeah,
no, they didn't try. They sent it.
Yeah, that's true. They did.
So, if he said a couple things that were pretty important to listen to, right? So this guy was labeled. Him and Enrique were the two bad guys, right, of the whole event. He got 20 years in prison. The man was not even in Washington D.C. Neither was Enrique. So for you people that are, it's ridiculous and it's absurd.
Well, they were. The point was to make an example.
And another thing, nobody from the Oath Keepers fought with police, and you'll see stuff about them talking on the radios and stuff, right? Say, hey, we're in, as if it was an accomplishment of an insurrection. None of them had weapons. Those guys are supposed to be these military experts. They're going to take over the government without a weapon, right? Come on, give me a break. I mean, it was a joke, and. The Proud Boys, too. I just want to show this. Hey, Leslie, here's my friends gave me a challenge coin, my Proud Boy buddies. Whoop. This for you, Leslie. So you could put this, you could show this to the mayor next time you're speaking, you bimbo. Sorry, Paul. Sorry, Paul.
That's going to be helpful. I don't condone any of the rhetoric that my partner says about
sorry.
members of the
Well,
anyway.
We're gonna read. We're gonna read Proud Boy books to 2-year-old babies.
One of the other things
in diapers.
Well, I'll have that information on my website about the Pride events for 2 to 6-year-olds. One of the other things I saw that was said in the mainstream media quite often was that police officers died or at the hands of J6ers, and I was reminded of that because there was a few posts going around that were viral today about how, like Sicknick, for example, he died of a stroke. His autopsy
Trump
report,
supporter. He's a Trump supporter.
His autopsy report was made public. Had nothing to do with chemicals from bear spray or anything from that. It was, natural causes. And then I think there were like 5 other cops that died after the fact, suicide.
And there's a number of suicides. So people on our side
suicide,
committed suicide. 4 or 5 people committed suicide.
Who were in jail.
Fear if they're going to prison for life for just trespassing. Here's another thing. The Oath Keepers, the Proud Boys, the 3%ers, right? And any of you guys remember the Bofang radios? The Bofang communication radios they had for the insurrection? I'll give you a little secret here. The reason there was cross communications, got to remember, there's guys that are in the military in all these different organizations. And if you remember, in November and December, the skirmishes were between who? The Black Lives Matter, Antifa, and the Proud Boys, right? Right? So on January 6th,
especially in Portland,
from what I was hearing, is that the Proud Boys were going to encounter. This is probably one of the first times you guys are hearing this now that it's like after January 20th. The Proud Boys were going to confront Antifa and BLM. This is at night, right, when they come out. The Bofang radios and the communication was for backup to come in and get them from the back. What do you guys call that? Flank them or something like that? Mm-hmm. With the 3%ers and stuff. And they were going to sandwich them and beat the shit out of them. That's what the Bofang radios were for, all right? I don't know if anyone else said it now after January 20th. Hey, Dad, you could bring my Bofang radio back, by the way.
Well, I mean, I think that it was always said that it was it was a coordinated attack because they had communications. That was so the Bofang. I'm sure that a lot of the trials had that as evidence.
And what are they going to say, right?
Yeah.
So I'm telling you that.
Well, I don't know.
That's what the radios were for.
There's going to be, I mean, now that everybody's out, or well, hopefully soon everybody's out. I think you're going to hear some real horror stories about what was going on in that facility and how they were being treated. Because you got little glimpses of it throughout the years.
There's a lot of racism going on with Washington, D.C. within that facility. And Stuart said another important thing about the helmets, right? You remember him saying about the helmets and stuff? So my helmet's up there. And so we got in, me and my cop buddy got in like at midnight, right, on January 5th, January 6th. And we had to meet at 6:30 in the morning. And there was... These guys were 3%ers, I think. There was 3%ers, Proud Boys. I don't know if there's Alt Keepers, all out in front, man. And, those guys look like they walked off the battlefield, And I wasn't even going to wear my stuff, but, I just had cancer treatment the day before. I was exhausted. I had the helmet, goggles. I go downstairs. I see those guys all decked out in their stuff. I'm like, oh, man. Should I go get my helmet? And they all laugh. They go, nah, you don't need your helmet. It's when Antifa doesn't come out until at night. Swear to God. So I'm with the guys that are supposedly part of an insurrection. You think they would have told me, hey, we need the helmet for an insurrection, buddy. Hurry up and go get it. No, there was no insurrection. There was no planned insurrection. It was a lie. And so I guess now is a good time for us to pivot into the next part of the story and talk. And hopefully you got some of that stuff ready there, Paul.
Yeah.
About the hypocrisy. You got all these leftist scumbags
of the pardon
are going nuts about what happened with, Trump knows, even a lot of these Republicans you wouldn't think defending these guys, cruel, unusual punishment, man. There's guys that have been sitting like Jake Lang, they haven't even had trial, right? For 4 years.
Yeah, right.
Even the worst of the worst should have been out in less than a year. Even the worst of the worst should have been out less than a year. So now we're going to pivot into these scumbags. I don't know if you have...
let's pull up the New York Post article.
Some of what Biden, he pardoned 8,000 people. So Trump did like 1,800, 1,700. Obama did 1,800, something like that. Bush did 300.
I mean, it was over 8,000 for him, for Biden. Most by far of any modern. I believe any president.
He probably thought he only did 8.
Well, that's an interesting point. Before we get into this, I don't know if you saw the clip of Mike Johnson. Did you see this?
Oh, yes. Yeah, I saw that earlier. Yeah.
So he was talking about, why did you... There was something that he did to stop liquefied natural gas exports from Louisiana.
Europe.
Yeah, and he's like, why do you do this? This is a big part of our economy. And Biden's like, no, you're mistaken. It's like, no, you signed an executive order to do that, sir. And he was like, and anyway, Johnson kept arguing with him, and then he goes, I realized after a little bit that he didn't know.
Yeah.
He didn't know. So just another piece of evidence to suggest that, Biden wasn't running the show. But this is good. This is interesting to talk about these commutations and what he did, because I had an argument literally yesterday with a family member about he pardoned or he commuted or, he gave clemency to child killers and murderers. And they didn't believe me. But anyway, so the New York Post reports that President Biden on Monday...
Is that what Jason has up there?
Yes. And these are children that are victims of murderers. On Monday, commuted sentences of 37 of the 40 men on federal death row. A list that includes at least 5 child killers and several mass murderers, while leaving out 3 notorious fiends. In a stunning act of clemency, just 2 days before Christmas, Biden, 82, gave the reprieve to some of the nation's most violent murderers. 9 of them found too dangerous to live after butchering fellow inmates. As part of this effort at ensuing fair and effective justice system, the White House said. So let's just go to here we go. 3 of the men on federal death row did not get a commutation. Were Boston Marathon bomber, blah blah blah. But let's see. Among those getting some holiday cheer is Thomas Sanders, who in 2010 kidnapped and then shot 12-year-old Lexus Roberts 4 times and cut her throat in Louisiana, days after the girl watched as Sanders murdered her mother on a road trip near the Grand Canyon. Christmas also came earlier for Anthony Battle, who murdered an Atlanta prison guard with a hammer in 1994 while serving a life sentence for raping and murdering his wife, a U.S. Marine, in 1987 at Camp Lejeune. Jorge Avila Torres, another clemency recipient, sexually assaulted and stabbed to death 2 girls, Laura Hobbs, 8 years old, and Crystal Tobias, 9 years old, who had been riding their bicycles in their neighborhood in a suburb north of Chicago in 2005. 4 years later, he strangled a naval officer, Amanda Snell, 20, inside her barracks in Arlington, Virginia. So, there's more.
Well, let's talk about the pardoning in advance of the rest of the Biden crime family.
Well,
Come
yeah,
on, you gotta
I
remember that
just
in your brain.
wanted to first point out,
yeah,
like,
I mean, that's egregious shit.
What possible reason? I mean, child murderers, child rapists.
They should be tortured a slow death.
I mean, a girl.
Matter of fact, what they should do is
8 and 9-year-old girl.
take it from
murdered.
someone who knows. Let them out. You know what? Let them out of death row. Take them out. They're locked up. Let them go in Gen Pop.
So
Then you see that's the way they should die.
So to your point, he also offered pardons to people like Schiff, Fauci, right? The J6 committee, which includes Liz Cheney and Adam Kinzinger, right? And I think the question obviously is, if they're not guilty, what do they need pardons for?
Oh, it's Trump's fault.
And it's Trump. Well, Trump is threatened.
Trump. He's going to threaten to weaponize the law enforcement.
Oh, you mean like they did? Like they did to him? Like they did to him? See, the problem with it is the internet, nothing goes away. So you could search on X, and there's clips all over the place from 2020 of Democrats saying the same thing in 2020. If he pardons anybody in advance, then
So they could never, ever, ever say nobody is above the law. Right? Nobody is above the law. How many times the Democrats use that more than the Republicans do, right? They over and over and over again. Nobody is above the law. Nobody is above the law. They could never, ever, ever use that again. And if there's a Republican, a conservative talk show host that lets one of these scumbags use that phrase again, they're rhinos. They need to go.
Couple other points. The specified date range for Fauci and Hunter Biden and a few people who Hunter Biden was associated with started in 2014. Some interesting things to note about that. 2014 was when, there was Eco Health Alliance that cut out that nonprofit that worked with the Wuhan lab, right?
Yeah.
The 2014 was also another interesting date as it pertains to
let me help you out with
Biden.
that besides those dates too.
Yeah.
Take it from another guy that knows about that. There's also statute of limitations, so they look back.
Yeah, true.
And they go, bam, okay, statute of limitations. So whatever things, the crimes that they are associated with are not like murder, which is no statute of limitations, right? So they went to that threshold. They know exactly what they did. So they don't even have to go back and say, well, he did X, Y, and Z in 2002, 23, but statute of limitations is only 10 years.
Well, let's hope. I mean, the only thing that I would consider to ever hold these people accountable is if they committed treason. Then perhaps they would be subject to a military tribunal. But
we got to go after him in state court, just like what they did to Trump, just like what they did to him in New York, right? So we have some Republican, some conservative states attorneys, right, that should go after and prosecute.
I think you're going to see some of that
for real crimes, not fake crimes. Like not say, oh, let's get back at them and make stuff up. No, these guys done real crimes. We have to go after them for that.
I think you're going to see some of that, to be honest.
Yeah.
And then to back up on that, let's hope that the reverse doesn't happen as it pertains to the J6 people, because I did see there was a governor or there was a state's attorney or something like that in a blue state that was going to try some of the J6 people.
Florida. So first of all, some of these guys are hung up in the gulag because of Florida, not because Florida's calling them. It's that big in DC. Yeah. It's saying that they got to hold them in there.
Oh, Muriel Bowser, the DC mayor, right?
Yeah. And so now the governor's getting involved in Florida to let him go. Now think about this, right? These very same Democrats like Bowser and stuff, if she catches a Venezuelan or a gang member and locks him up, and ICE is the federal government's supposed to come and pick him up, she won't even call them. But look at these guys. They got pardoned by the president. She's going out of her way, reaching out to other states that don't even have these detainers on them, is holding them, even though the states don't want to hold them. So this is another example of hypocrisy. She would let a criminal gang member probably murder her, go, and not give him up to Tom Homan because of her political views, but she's keeping guys that were unfairly punished for much longer time than they should have been and holding them on detainers that aren't really detainers.
Yeah, and I think we should bring it back to Illinois again because, it just all this stuff is so crazy because there are people out there that had supported Biden, supported the administration, that had supported the Democrat Party, and all the work that we've done has shown like all of this has been at the expense of the actual citizen.
Yeah.
And it goes back to you and Ben sitting there in front of Governor Pritzker and Brandon Johnson, and we got to clip that because he's like, "We're our job protect the residents of," and Ben going, "Citizens, your job is to protect the citizens."
Yeah. Hey, real quick, Leslie Fugit, please like, share, and subscribe.
I think she already does.
Yeah, she does.
She pulled that up at the village council meeting.
That pencil neck husband of hers.
Terry Newsom. Terry Newsom.
Is she talking to you?
Is the end near?
What the heck is that? What
100.
the hell is that?
Oh,
hey.
It's still going. Your computer's talking to you.
What the heck is that?
I'll see. Maybe, I don't know. Lay off the.
I don't even know how to use my
computer. Lay off the Democrat women. Maybe they've hacked into your computer. Well, let me just say something about all that. Like, I mean, at the end of the day, the accusation was that we have a bigoted, racist podcast, and I think our first guest on the show, or one of the first guests that we had on the show,
Jamie Mitchell.
Jamie Mitchell was is the president of Gays Against Groomers. The whole idea there is it's a nonprofit or a group, national group of gay people who are against child grooming, who are against some of the things that Terry and I originally had spoken out against, which was just, why do we have to have pornographic material? Terry, you want to grab your? Yeah. I just, to me, this right here.
Here, Leslie, this is for you.
I don't understand how does that make kids better?
Leslie, does your husband tell you to watch this?
For Democrats.
And my thought is if religion isn't allowed to be in the public square, why is this? Why do I have to pay taxes into an institution that makes this available to my children? I think it's perfectly reasonable for me to say, I am not a bigot. I am not anti-LGBTQ, but I also don't want my 2 to 6 year olds to be able to see this. And I should, if I'm paying for the institution, I shouldn't have to have my kids subject to this.
Exactly. Hey, question. If this was the Fugit household, which one would be Leslie?
Okay. That's
She's the one with the camera.
I don't know if you think you're helping me, but you're definitely not.
Well, she's like, I'm just trying to show how absurd she is. She defends this stuff. So I'm trying to be crude on purpose.
Well,
Leslie.
I know we sat
I'm
against.
trying to be crude on purpose because you think this is okay for kids.
Well,
so
yeah,
I'm being sarcastic. Paul didn't say that, so don't use it against him.
And we sat across from Sean Casten,
and he admitted it was porn.
Who is a member of United States Congress and defended that stuff.
No, but then he freaked out
and then
yelled
that you were the only one. It's like, no, you're the whole. He yelled at Terry for you're the only one with porn
in the library.
And my thing was like, this whole event was for you to sit up there and defend having that in the library. Yet he brought it to the library. He showed you that this is in the library, and then you ridiculed him for doing it. It's like, this is what the kids have access to.
To be fair, though, Terry was showing it to the adults, not the kids. So there's a big difference.
Yeah, but they were offended. They were offended. It's like, and then one of them told us like, your kids have access to stuff on the phone that's way worse than this. Yeah, well, it's my job to police that in my own home. Like, you're asking me to pay taxes for that to be available to my kid when I'm not around.
Remember that one idiot from the library that was on the panel, a psychologist or something?
Well, she's the head of EQDG.
Yeah. Oh, that's the bit.
Yeah.
Oh, she's like,
Yeah.
and I had to look at a penis the whole time. Remember? She said that?
Yeah.
It's like, wait a minute.
It's just,
you're defending
and
these
our
to be in
kids played
books.
Little League together, and you're like, our kids didn't play
All
Little
right,
League.
so let's see, what do we got here?
So we
we got any close? Yeah, we're
gotta
done.
close it out.
Any closing statements? So we got a lot of stuff. Sorry, I was late. I didn't get a chance to be prepared.
Got a lot of content. We'll see a gateway story on this, on what Terry and Ben did.
We do have referendums coming up, right? We got 2 referendums. You're going to hear more about it now. One to remove the state of Illinois.
Yep.
Oh, okay.
At the
2026
Yep.
as a sanctuary state, and the one for Chicago. So we're going to start rolling that out. We're going to use that as a weapon or a tool to call out Brandon Johnson.
Going to see
and
a lot
Pritzker
of marketing on that.
to say the Illinois and Chicagoans are not with him. They don't want this.
It's true, man. I don't know any people that are for that.
And then Paul's running in Downers Grove. Not Terry Newsom. Paul Drabick.
Big event, February
Paul Drabick.
10th.
He's running by
Edmonton,
himself,
Downers
so
Grove.
don't use me against him.
And hey, I welcome liberals to come. I had a little debate on Nextdoor with some liberals, and it ended up amicable.
Yeah, I ended up getting blocked for life.
He did, yeah. Terry,
I try.
If
I'm
nobody
getting
has
better.
noticed by now, Terry and I have a little bit of a different approach, but I love his approach. I mean,
So
we're doing all right.
see you
How many
guys.
followers we have?
altogether 30,000. It should be more. We're just not good at the technology.
Thanks, everybody.
The thing that we posted already with Ben, and I had like 200,000 already.
Yeah, right. Yeah.
So thank you guys. See you later. See you next week.